you have spent any time on YouTube or just the internet in general over the last year or so, you have probably heard some version of the same prediction over and over again. The housing market crash is coming.
The housing market is dropping daily.
The housing market is grinding to a halt.
Housing market doesn't have a heartbeat.
Every week, there's another expert telling you that home prices are about to fall. But here we are, and for most of the country, it still hasn't happened. Now, to be fair, there are markets that have seen real meaningful price corrections. Austin, Phoenix, Tampa. Real estate is always local, and some markets got ahead of themselves in a way that's now unwinding. But nationally, and especially here in a lot of Midwest markets like the Cleveland area where I work, prices have been surprisingly resilient. So what's actually going on? Today I want to show you one piece of the housing market that almost nobody talks about, because once you see it, those flat home price charts start to make a whole lot more sense. If you pull up a chart of the median home prices right now, it looks like values have been holding steady. Mortgage rates are still hovering over 6.5%. Buyers have gotten a lot more selective. Homes are sitting on the market longer, and inventory has actually improved in a lot of areas. On paper, it seems like prices should be falling faster than they are. So why aren't they? I think the headline numbers are missing an important part of the story. If you are new here, my name is George Poporad, and I'm a realtor here in the Cleveland, Ohio area. Every week I try to put out videos to help buyers, sellers, and homeowners make smarter real estate decisions without all the noise. If you find that helpful, hit that thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel, because I'm pretty sure you will find something useful. Whenever people start talking about home prices dropping, the conversation almost always comes back to 2008. And honestly, that makes sense. It was one of the biggest financial events that most of us have ever lived through. But today's housing market looks very different under the hood. Back then, lenders were handing out mortgages to people who never should have qualified in the first place. Adjustable rate loans suddenly reset and got a lot more expensive. Borrowers couldn't keep up with the new payments, and millions of homes went into foreclosure almost all at once. That created an enormous flood of inventory practically overnight. And when supply skyrockets while buyers disappear, prices fall. That's exactly what happened, and locally it hit hard. Cleveland area home prices dropped 20 to 30% or more in some areas before finally bottoming out. Today's market has its own set of problems, but they're different problems. Most homeowners right now have fixed rate mortgages, a lot of them below 4%. They aren't being forced to sell, and they built a significant amount of equity over the last several years. That's one of the biggest reasons we haven't seen a flood of foreclosures or the kind of price collapse that so many people keep predicting. Instead, we've ended up in this strange middle ground where buyers have more negotiating power than they've had in years, and yet home prices don't appear to be changing very much. At least that's what the data seems to suggest on the surface. So let's say your neighbor lists their house for $500,000. It goes under contract fairly quickly, and a few weeks later it closes. You look it up online and it says sold for $500,000. Naturally, you assume that's what someone actually paid. But what if the seller also gave the buyer $15,000 towards closing costs, or a $10,000 repair credit after the inspection? Or what if they paid thousands of dollars to buy down the buyer's mortgage rate? The public record usually doesn't show any of that. It still just says sold for $500,000. But financially, that's not really what happened. The seller accepted less money than the sales price suggests. That's what I mean when I talk about a hidden discount, and it's happening constantly right now, just quietly enough that most people never notice it. Think back to the housing frenzy just a few years ago, during and shortly after COVID. If you asked a seller to cover your closing costs, the answer was a resounding no, and they probably laughed in your face. If you wanted repairs handled before closing, also probably a no. If you wanted a home warranty thrown in, forget about it. In a lot of markets, buyers were waiving inspections entirely, offering significantly over asking price, and competing against a dozen other offers just to have a shot. It doesn't matter if the roof was 10 years past its lifespan or the furnace was on its last leg. You took the house as is, and you said thank you. Today's market is different. Now, I will be honest with you, there are still homes going under contract with multiple offers over asking price within 48 hours. The right house in the right neighborhood at the right price point in good condition can still move like it's 2021. For the most part, that's no longer the norm. Sellers are negotiating again. Closing costs, repair credits, interest rate buydowns, home warranties, appliances, even HOA dues. I've personally seen sellers agree to replace roofs, furnaces, or water heaters just to keep a deal from falling apart, rather than risk putting the house back on the market and starting over from square one. Those are all real dollars coming directly out of the seller's pocket. But most people never see those numbers because none of it shows up on the recorded sales price. And this tracks with what's happening nationally. In a strong seller's market, concessions show up in fewer than 1 in 10 sales because sellers simply don't need to offer them. There are 3 other buyers lined up behind you who won't ask for a thing. In a more balanced market like the one we are in now, that number runs closer to 20 or 25%. And in a market that's genuinely tilting towards buyers, it can climb past 40%. So when someone tells you home prices haven't really changed, I think the more accurate answer is, not entirely. The recorded sales price may not have moved much, but the amount sellers are actually walking away with often has moved quite a bit. And the amount buyers are actually spending to get into the home has usually moved right along with it. You can see this even more clearly if you look at new construction. Builders have been advertising things like rates as low as 4.99%, $20,000 towards closing costs, a free finished basement, or free design upgrades. None of those incentives are actually free. Someone is paying for them, and usually it's the builder. And here's why builders would rather do that than simply lower the price. Every time a builder officially reduces a home sale price, that sale becomes a comparable for the next home they built in the same community. Future buyers see it, appraisers see it, lenders see it. That lower sales price can affect the value of every other home in the neighborhood going forward. So it's much easier for a builder to quietly hand one buyer $25,000 in incentives than to publicly reduce every home's value by $25,000. One of those moves stays invisible. The other one becomes public record forever. Now, I want to be clear about something. I'm not saying median home prices are wrong or that they're some kind of trick. They're genuinely one of the best tools we have for measuring the housing market, and I look at them all the time. But they're really only measuring one part of the transaction. They don't tell you whether the seller paid $15,000 towards closing costs. They don't tell you whether the builder spent $20,000 buying down the mortgage rate. They don't tell you about inspection credits, repair concessions, or a home warranty thrown in at the last minute to keep everyone happy. All they're measuring is the recorded sales price and nothing more. That's why I think buyers and sellers both need to look past the headline number. Because the real question isn't just, what did the house sell for? The real question is, what did it actually take to get this deal done? Those can be 2 very different numbers, sometimes by tens of thousands of dollars. And this cuts both ways. If you are a seller, it means the comps that your agent pulls for you might be quietly overstating what you can actually expect to walk away with, because they don't account for what the seller on the other end of that comparable sale had to do to get the deal closed. If you are a buyer, it means that the list price that you're negotiating against isn't necessarily the real ceiling. It might just be the number everyone's agreed to protect publicly, while the real negotiation happens somewhere else entirely, off to the side, in a form nobody puts on a yard sign. Either way, the recorded sales price is a starting point for the conversation, not the end of it. If you are buying a home right now, this is actually good news. You have options that buyers simply didn't have a few years ago. So don't get so locked in on the purchase price that you forget about everything else on the table. Maybe the seller won't budge on price. Fine. Would they cover your closing costs instead? Would they replace the roof? Would they buy your interest rate down for the first year or 2 of the loan? Would they throw in the appliances or knock a few months off your first HOA payments? Sometimes the best negotiation isn't knocking $5,000 off the purchase price. Sometimes it's saving $15,000 in actual cash at the closing table, which frankly is money you'd otherwise have to bring with you as a cashier's check on closing day. And think about which one of these actually solves your specific problem, because they're not interchangeable. If your issue is coming up with enough cash to close, a closing cost credit helps you immediately. If your issue is the monthly payment feeling too tight, a rate buy down does more for you than the same dollar amount knocked off the price ever would. If you're worried about a big expense hitting you 6 months after you move in, a repair credit or a home warranty solves that specific fear directly. A blanket price reduction is the easiest thing to ask for, but it's rarely the most efficient use of the seller's money for your situation. That's exactly why it's worth sitting down, either on your own or with your agent, and figuring out which lever actually moves the needle for you before you walk into a negotiation. Every buyer's situation is different, and the sellers who are motivated right now are often more flexible on these terms than they are on the number at the top of the listing. So why haven't home prices crashed the way so many people predicted? There are a lot of reasons. Low inventory, homeowners locked into historically low mortgage rates, and strong homeowner equity have all played a role. But I think there's another piece of the puzzle that keeps getting overlooked. Sellers and builders have found ways to make homes more affordable without dramatically lowering the recorded sales price. Those hidden discounts don't always show up in the headlines, but they happen every single day all around us. So the next time you hear someone say home prices haven't moved, just remember that only tells part of the story. If you found this video helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I try to put out new videos every week to help buyers, sellers, and homeowners make smarter real estate decisions. And if you're thinking about buying or selling here in Northeast Ohio, I would love to help. Thanks so much for watching. I'm George Poporad. I'll see you in the next one.